But I want to get back to the thing you were talking about. Sure. Are there any, what relationships do you think you have spoiled because of social media?
Let's just do it, bro.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, dude, listen, like, I think being in the public eye as much as, you know, obviously we'll talk about the relationship with Amra for a second. I mean, I think just being in the public eye as much as we were, it definitely, it was like being in a relationship right at the beginning of your come up. You know what I'm saying? A come up that you had dreamed about your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like something you had worked so fucking hard for, dude. And had, you know, written the book and had, you know, put together the relationships and put together the mindset and put together and started working your ass off to create the channel. And it was almost like one thing that relationship really taught me was the importance of timing, bro. Like, I know that's so cliche and people always talk about it in life. And like, as you go through a relationship with someone, a romantic relationship, you have all these like, nah, she does this or he does that, or like we just don't click on that level. Yeah. And even though you do click, even though that chemistry might be there, a lot of times it all just comes down to what stage of life are the two different people in.
I gotta jump in on that, man. I personally went through this. I had an 8-year relationship. And in the beginning of my 8-year relationship was literally, like you said, which is why I'm sharing this story right now, my whole come up, like my whole life changing. And this person was actually an integral part of that, because the person did so much for me when I needed a lot of help. The person let me stay with them, but it was like in my come up of what I was doing on social media. And prior to that relationship, I had gotten out of another relationship that put me in a position where, like you said, timing in life, I was very like, I felt super hurt. I felt super taken advantage of because of the way that past relationship prior to this person fell out. And then when I got out of that, I was like, fuck everyone, fuck everything. I'm gonna take advantage of everyone and everything and every opportunity, because I felt so hurt. Because in that other relationship, I let go of financial stability through like my clients and all these things that I was cutting loose, because I was trying to make the other person happy and like show that I was this person, or show that I was good enough, or show that I was the right, you know, like I could make this work and I'm not talking to this person, and I'm trying to expel all these issues that were in that thing. And I was like pulling away from myself, taking away from myself. And then I met this girl right after. It was like, it pretty much blew up my face, and the girl was like, fuck you. Yeah. I met the girl like 2 weeks later, and it was like super sweetheart, amazing person, great intentions, went through her own issues and drama and childhood stuff and past relationships. And I had all these trust issues. Then I met her and was like, that was me, the person who was like, I'm going to take advantage of everyone and everything because I was so hurt. Right. And then I did that to her. And then it took me about, and I was with her for like 2 years, taking advantage of all the things that she gave me. And in 2 years, I was like, damn, I really love this chick. And so imagine this, it was an 8-year relationship. But 2 years in, I realized that, and it was way too late. And then it was just up and down, like terrible clockwork, up and down. Because
of the toxicity that existed in the beginning of the relationship. Yeah. I mean, that I can obviously relate to so much too. I mean, we had that same kind of thing happen. And like, honestly, I just want, even more than me being on that career path, because by the way, she was massively responsible as a catalyst for that career trajectory uplift. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't have the talent. I'm not saying I don't work hard enough, but she was a massive eye draw and a marketing tool, whatever you want to fucking call it, to bringing new eyes on. So she was a big catalyst for that growth. But I mean, also like it really just brought out and showed me a bunch of other problems that I have as it pertains to romance that were not as easy.
So what are you doing now to learn from these things? Because like, it is genuinely true. It's like, there are things that we can be really good at. I know I've always excelled at like business and like marketing and ideas and all this stuff. I was able to put my mind and be like, oh, I could see what works, or I could see what doesn't work. I could see what people like, I could see what people don't like, and go towards those things. And I was always really good at that aspect of my life. Was always very solid at learning and understanding people. But then when it came to like my personal intimate relationships, because of all the blocks that I had growing up and the things that I put in front of myself, I was never able to put that guard down in myself, to look inside myself and say, hey, these are the things I was going through. Like, this is why I was here, but that's not my current circumstance now. And then letting that situation be based on the now instead of just my past. I wasn't able to let go of things. Yeah. And I was so good at these other lanes. And even still, I find myself struggling sometimes with friendships, struggling majorly with relationships, to be my full potential, like my true, genuine self in those things, because I'm afraid of being taken advantage of. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of feeling like, I'm not good enough, all that shit. So what have you learned in like that whole process? Because I remember seeing it, I'm like, holy shit, this is like, your come up was like fucking massive. It was insane. What have you learned now after all that stuff? At like the smoke has settled, obviously. Like, what have you learned majorly that you're like, okay, these are some things that I really need to look at myself and not fix, but kind of heal a little bit or try to.
No, fix is fine. I mean, dude, like my biggest thing has always been, I just run, dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I run. I run, and I always have, and it fits in completely with this discussion we were having before about the travel. It's not only because of content, man. I'm just in a spot right now where I don't fully understand a lot of things, bro. And so it's in my nature to run. It's a lot of stuff comes down to your mindset, dude. Like fully comes down to your mindset. And my whole life since I was 15 years old, I told myself that I was a degenerate. I was a scumbag. I was a piece of shit. And not like to other people, but just the way that I treat myself, the way I talk about myself. I got fucked up. I partied. I had rampant fucking sex all the time, even before all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing that for so fucking long. And unfortunately, the way the mind works, it's a habit.
Yeah, you
and
form
I built this thought of myself that that's all I'm ever going to be. That's who I am as a person. And luckily I've been able to balance that with some really great stuff. The book, how I talk about mental health, how I talk to, and those things, and trying to eat better and exercise and all that stuff. But like, in a lot of ways, man, I'm still really undeveloped and underdeveloped when it comes to how I think about myself and how my mind works.
And that's why I'm asking, like, what are you doing personally? Like, what are you doing for yourself?
Just running, man. To be honest, I know that, dude. I mean, dude, like, honestly, like, I'm just, like I said, I'm gonna show up and be completely honest with you today, bro.
My question right away when you say that is like, what are you running from?
Intimacy, commitment, any kind of relationship. I don't know what it is, bro. It's something that's been a part of me since I was a kid, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Is it because you're like, is it being good enough?
No, it's not even that. I know my worth. That's never been a worth question. I don't know if it's like something that was built into me as a kid, like with my family. Like, obviously, like I had traumas like you did in my childhood, and I don't know what it is, dude. But for some reason, like relationships in general worry me. They create an unease inside of me, and so like.
Are the worries about infidelity? Are the worries about like,
never. I've never once ever had a girl that I was ever worried about shit. I mean, dude, Amber was the most loyal girl I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah,
she literally didn't know another guy existed outside of me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For as long as we dated, it was actually fucking crazy because it was so counter what all the little kids thought was the case. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. No, it's not even that, dude. It's just I don't know what it is. I've been trying to go inward and think through it a little bit lately, and I have a problem with anyone else having any control in my life. Yeah. It's this fucking need to be in full control because I think it might just be because I don't innately trust the decision making of other people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's understandable.
And that's what a relationship is. I give it this like little analogy.
You're
you know
in
what
a
I'm
car?
saying? Where I told you this one, right?
Yes.
On the last show or no?
No, I just know
you're in a car.
Yes.
You're driving on the highway, and for as long as you've existed, you've always driven with both hands on the wheel, and you're driving down the road. And I think that in a lot of ways, when you get into a relationship with someone else, you have to take a hand off and have them put a hand on the wheel that drives your car.
And you're like, no, what the fuck are you doing?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because at any point, dude, like even a year in or like 6 months in, you don't know the mental state of the other person. You don't know the hormonal imbalances. You don't know what the fuck is going to happen. And on any given day, I've always felt like, yo, what if that person jerks the wheel into a fucking wall?
Yeah.
And I got to go and clean up the pieces. You know
So
what I'm saying?
here-
So it's like, I don't want you touching my radio in the car. I don't want you driving me anywhere. I don't want you planning vacations. Like, I've always been this fucking control freak. And it's something that I really need to learn how to fix.
It's crazy because I totally identify and understand how you feel because I feel the same way. But here's the interesting thing that we were talking about earlier as well. We're talking about being present and our own ability to be present in social media and how difficult it is now as we've like grown and people, everyone listening, you go to a dinner place, everyone's just on their fucking phone.
Yeah.
It's so much harder for people to be present, but that is in and of the same problem. If like in your life, you're talking about, you're afraid to let someone else have the wheel and like where they're going to go with it. That's also an inability to be present because you have to understand, I know you know this, you're not naive to this, you're not dumb at all. That is a major part of life. Like that is life, allowing that. If you want that in your life, in your space, having another half, someone in your life, right? The intimate relationship, you have to allow that just as much as you allow yourself to be in control.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a release of the control. That's the number one thing. And I know that's why I have such a hard time with like, you know, my biggest fear in life is death because I have no understanding of what the other side is. And I've been thinking about it since I was 6 years old because my father, right?
Yeah.
So, but I know that that's the major thing in my life that I have to let go. I can't be in control of that. I'm also not in control of my death. Right. You know, none of us are.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing relationship wise, like when I talk to you and I hear you say it, it's interesting how we're talking about two of the same things is like, it's about your ability, my own ability and everyone's ability to be in the present, to be right now and understand that like that whole situation you had, the whole relationship that you had, it was all supposed to go exactly that way.
100%.
Like, and I know you know that.
100%. It also goes back to, once again, back to the timing.